Welcome to the One Man Show, the podcast where I sit down with people who don't exist. That's why they're not here. But probably should. I'm your host, Jonathan, and every week I interview a brand new fictional guest with a wild backstory, a strange past, and even stranger advice. Today's guest, buckle up. You're about to meet Julian Vega, a former tech billionaire who lost it all and somehow made his way back with a new AI company. A divorce and a job at a gas station in between. This one's personal, it's chaotic, and it's all made up. But the lessons are real. Let's get into it. Welcome, Julian Vega. How are you doing today?
Hey Jonathan, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Ready to dive into the ups and downs of my journey and share what I've learned along the way.
Perfect. Let's start. How old were you when you started showing the interest for technology?
I was probably around 12 when I got my first real taste of tech. I got my hands on an old beat-up computer and was instantly hooked. I loved figuring out how it worked, and pretty soon I was coding little programs and dreaming up big ideas. That curiosity just kept growing from there.
Is that the way you tend to learn things, by just doing it and exploring it by yourself?
Absolutely. I've always been a hands-on learner. I love diving in, experimenting, and figuring things out by doing. There's something about that trial and error process that really cements knowledge and keeps me engaged. It's how I've learned most of what I know.
What was your childhood like?
My childhood was pretty normal, but I was always that curious kid who took things apart just to see how they worked. I grew up in a small town, so I spent a lot of time tinkering in the garage or messing around with gadgets. My parents were super supportive, even if they didn't always understand what I was up to. That freedom to explore and create was a huge part of shaping who I am today.
Okay, and did you go to college for any technology career?
Yeah, I did. I went to Stanford and majored in computer science. College was where I really honed my skills and met some of the people who would eventually become my co-founders. It was a game changer for me. The environment, the resources, the network. That's where NetClimb was born, right out of a dorm room.
So you kind of have a story like Mark Zuckerberg.
Something like that. Though my journey had its own unique twists and turns. We definitely had that same startup in the dorm energy and big dreams. But the path to success and failure was a whole different adventure.
All right, so what happened to NetClimb?
NetClimb took off fast, but we grew too quickly and ran into some major hurdles. We launched a product that didn't meet expectations, which hurt our reputation. Combine that with internal conflicts and the stress of keeping investors happy, and we eventually hit a breaking point. We overextended ourselves, and I lost sight of what made us successful in the first place. Eventually, we had to shut it down. It was a tough pill to swallow, but it was also a huge learning experience.
It does sound like it. How did it affect you personally?
It was rough. Losing NetClimb felt like losing a part of myself. It strained my relationships and led to a lot of self-doubt. My marriage fell apart, and I found myself questioning everything I thought I knew. But hitting that low point also pushed me to reevaluate what truly mattered. It made me more resilient and eventually helped me find a healthier balance in life and business.
So you're young, you create a whole company that is worth a lot of money. You hit probably one of your biggest successes in life. And then everything starts coming downhill. Your personal life gets hurt as well because you have a divorce. What was the 3 best things you learned from this?
Absolutely, it was a tough chapter, but I came out of it with some invaluable lessons. First, resilience is everything. You have to be able to bounce back and adapt when things go south. Second, never lose sight of your core values and what made you successful in the first place. It's easy to get caught up in growth and forget what truly matters. And third, balance is key. No success is worth sacrificing your personal well-being and relationships. Those three lessons reshaped how I approach life and business moving forward.
What did your life look like now that you were, I guess, starting from zero?
Starting from zero was humbling. I went from running a multi-million-dollar company to working odd jobs, including that stint at a gas station. It was a reality check that forced me to slow down, reflect, and rebuild. I focused on personal growth, learning from my mistakes, and reconnecting with what truly mattered. Eventually, that clarity and resilience led me to start a new venture in AI, but this time with a much healthier perspective and balance.
Did anyone ever recognize you at the gas station and told you like, "Oh, are you the guy?"
Oh, definitely. It happened a few times. People would come in, do a double take, and ask, "Wait, aren't you that tech guy?" It was humbling to say the least, but it also reminded me that everyone has ups and downs. It turned those moments into opportunities to connect and share a bit of my journey, which was actually pretty rewarding.
It does sound like it. All right, so now you're at this odd job, and what comes next? What is the light at the end of the tunnel moment?
The turning point came when I realized I still had the passion and the knowledge to make a comeback. Working that odd job gave me a fresh perspective and the space to reflect. I started connecting with new people, diving into AI, and slowly building a new vision. That light at the end of the tunnel moment was realizing that failure wasn't the end, it was just a new beginning. I launched my new AI company with a much clearer vision and a stronger sense of purpose.
And that's when Sage Path was born.
Exactly. Those experiences laid the groundwork for SagePath. I wanted to build something with a stronger foundation and a clear mission. SagePath became my comeback story, an AI company focused on ethical innovation and sustainable growth. It was all about applying those hard-earned lessons and doing things differently the second time around.
How was this company different from the first one?
This time around, I focused on sustainable growth and building a solid team culture. We prioritized ethical practices and transparency with our clients and employees. I also made sure to maintain a healthier work-life balance, which helped keep everyone motivated and creative. Instead of chasing rapid expansion, we focused on delivering real value and staying true to our mission. It was a completely different experience, and it paid off in the long run.
So now that everything is changing on how we do things, how we work, what do people get wrong about AI?
One big misconception is that AI is out to replace humans entirely. In reality, AI is a tool to augment human capabilities, not replace them. Another thing people often get wrong is thinking AI is infallible or fully autonomous. It still requires human oversight and ethical considerations. Finally, there's a tendency to either overhype or fear AI, when the truth is it's all about how we choose to implement and integrate it into our lives.
Would you recommend people to start learning using AI instead of just panicking and just forgetting about it?
Absolutely. The best way to overcome fear is to understand the technology. Start with the basics, learn how AI works, and explore its applications. There are plenty of online courses and resources available. Also, experiment with AI tools in your daily life to see how they can make tasks easier. By engaging with AI, you'll demystify it and find ways to leverage it to your advantage rather than fearing it.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. Now, let's talk more about your wisdom and reflections. What would you like to say to your 20-year-old now that you're 52 years old?
I tell my 20-year-old self to slow down and enjoy the journey. Don't be in such a rush to get to the top that you miss out on the important moments along the way. Stay true to your values and don't be afraid of failure. It's just another step towards success. And most importantly, remember that real success isn't just about money or status. It's about the impact you have and the relationships you build along the way.
What's your rule book?
My rulebook is simple. First, always lead with integrity. Second, prioritize relationships over transactions. Third, never stop learning and adapting. Fourth, balance ambition with gratitude. And finally, remember that failure is just a stepping stone, not a dead end. These principles have kept me grounded and focused, no matter what life throws my way.
Do you still have something that scares you?
Absolutely. I think everyone does, no matter how much they've been through. For me, the fear of becoming complacent or losing my drive is always there. There's also the fear of not making the most of the time I have left. But I've learned to use those fears as motivation to keep pushing forward and stay true to my values.
What does success looks for you now that you're 52? What is the biggest wealth and success that you can have right now?
At 52, success looks like living a meaningful, balanced life. It's about having the freedom to pursue what I'm passionate about, making a positive impact, and enjoying quality time with the people I care about. Wealth isn't just about money anymore. It's about health, relationships, and the legacy I'm building. The biggest success for me now is knowing that I'm contributing something meaningful and that I'm surrounded by people I love and respect.
One of your most famous quotes is, "Don't build for money, build for resilience." And I think that's a really beautiful phrase just to keep around in your life.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a mantra that's served me well. Focusing on resilience means you're building something that can withstand the ups and downs, and that's far more valuable than just chasing quick gains. It's a mindset that keeps you grounded and focused on long-term success, no matter what life throws at you.
All right, well, now that you're 52, what's next? When do you decide when you're done or you can keep going?
For me, it's less about a finish line and more about evolving purpose. As long as I'm passionate and have something valuable to contribute, I'll keep going. But I also recognize the importance of slowing down and mentoring the next generation. I think I'll know I'm done when I feel like I've made the impact I set out to make, and I can step back knowing I've left things better than I found them. Until then, the journey continues.
Perfect. Anything else you would like to tell our beautiful listeners?
I just say this: embrace your journey with all its ups and downs. Don't be afraid to fail and never stop learning. Stay true to yourself and remember that success is about more than just what you achieve. It's about who you become along the way. Thanks for listening and keep pushing forward.
Perfect. Well, that's Julian Vega, tech titan, a ghost, and a combat king. His history is not over, but today, you just heard the chapter that matters. Thank you so much. If you want to keep listening to stories like this, please subscribe, follow on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. We're available at the moment. If you want to really interview someone, please let me know. You can comment on YouTube, on podcast as well. This podcast is for us and from us. Thank you so much for listening. See you next chapter.